to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, my name's Derek, and I'm one of the members of the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed so you will never miss a moment. The platoon's a little thin tonight, so we are going to start with our producer, Gina. Gina, how's it going this evening?
It's great. I'm actually making room for Boba Fett. Can you see him right there? There's my Boba Fett helmet. Anyway, I'm so excited to talk about Boba Fett.
If it's there, he's not on the show anymore. So, you know.
Oh, no.
Next is Rebecca.
Hello. I'm doing well. It's a wonderful Tuesday night. Chilly in the 57s. So
we got your weather. We're 70. What are we? We're 70 and clear here in California.
Yeah, I hate you both. So, and we have tonight Sam. Sam?
Hello, everyone. It's good. Hello from rainy Seattle. As you might expect, it's the rainy season here. So that's what our weather is almost every day, all day. So, but I'm happy to be with you guys tonight and talking Disney Plus.
Yeah, got a couple fun things to talk about tonight. And we've got Nick along with us. So,
hi, Nick.
How you doing, Nick?
Hi, Nick.
Guys, if you haven't already...
I wonder who his boo is.
Not me.
So if you guys haven't already, please like, subscribe, share, get the word out. You know, we need more platooners. So
that's right. Please.
Kate and Pete not being here tonight. Sam, what's the Disney Plus news this week?
I'm going to do a little Kate today and tell you what our Disney Plus news is. So Disney and Pixar's Turning Red will be coming to Disney Plus on March 11. It is coming straight to Disney Plus, meaning it's not going to the theaters first. And one of the reasons that's been given for that is that this winter, with the current surge in COVID cases, families are just not really going to theaters. So the next Pixar feature that might hit theaters is Lightyear, a Buzz Lightyear origin story, due out in June. So we will see whether or not that comes to Disney Plus first or to theaters first. In other news, the upcoming series Ms. Marvel is reportedly having major reshoots this month. Now, it's typical to have some reshoots for any film or any TV series, but reportedly these are more significant than normal. And finally, there are reports out that the character Kira from the movie Solo, which did not really a box office hit, but it was actually not a terrible movie. She'll be getting her own series. Now, she's played by Emilia Clarke. Those of you who watch Game of Thrones know her as Mother of Dragons. And this character was set up in the movie to become the head of the Crimson Dawn organization, answering to Darth Maul. So that might be an interesting series that we will see on Disney Plus. Derek, back to you.
Dan says he's excited that it's Turning Red's going straight to Disney Plus. I think it's kind of screwing Pixar over. I think all their Pixar stuff had a track record that it should be given the shot in theaters. I hear you, Derek. I think the issue though is I've got an 8-year-old and I'm not risking going to a movie theater right now. So I would pay even the premium release on Plus before I'd go to a movie theater. I'd be okay if they wanted to, ask me to pay $20 to watch it 3 months earlier than if I have to wait for the regular. But I just think that's dependent on each person. And I'm surprised they're not going premium on that. I think with the theaters back open, if it's not going to theaters, it's just going to be free. Well, free.
Right.
Yeah.
Free. Included. Yeah.
And Dan does it puts more value to the Disney Plus. I would agree, Dan.
I agree with that too.
Other than Encanto, which we're going to talk about tonight, there's not much new stuff for kids on there. So you got to keep the families, because that's their money market. is
Right.
families with kids who got to stay interested.
Mhm.
So, okay. Well, we had a couple things we watched this week, and the first one we're going to talk about is episode 2 of Boba Fett. Gina, being our resident Star
Star Wars
geek,
expert, really.
do you have enough information yet to form an opinion on the series? Because and a little background for that, last week, almost all of us said we needed to watch at least one more episode.
Yes.
Gina, do you have enough information yet?
I do. And I have a huge opinion about it. So basically, my opinion is that this is a fan favorite. They are kowtowing to us. They're bringing people in for fans only. Now, here's the problem. It's not for your people who've only seen Star Wars. It's not for the people who've only seen Return of the Jedi. It's not for people who've seen Clone Wars. You have to have this deep dive. I actually had to read about some people just to make sure I was correct on who they were. I was like, wait, I think I know them. And I had to like go and look. Oh, it is them.
Is
So
that
it's
the
really-
Jabba the Hutt's cousins?
Not the twins. Not the
Yeah.
twins. It was the
Little
people
boy?
that were at Tachi Station. There were
Okay,
two
yeah.
people.
Which is a very deep dive because those were
Yes.
originally from a cut scene from A New
From
Hope.
Star Wars, New Hope.
Wait, you mean the two people who had their drinks like taken when they were at
Yes.
that bar?
Those
or
are Luke's
whatever?
friends. They're Luke's friends. I had to look it up because I
Oh my
said, I
goodness.
think I
Uh-huh.
know them. So what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni do is they read every comic book. They've read everything. They're my age. So they've watched everything, read everything. And they're like, oh, I love this part from the Marvel comic book series. And they pulled them into the show. Oh, I love this deep dive for Star Wars New Hope with the Tachi Station when Luke's whining to hang with his friends and they show up. So we kind of get that. And then the Tusken Raider lifestyle. So yes, my opinion is it is for the fans who are diehard people, not for the regular people. Sorry. It's not for you.
Well, as a regular person,
It's true.
my opinion of the show is that it's weird. I don't think that I'm confused because to me, I'm just watching this man as he like figures out his life after being trapped in this thing, right? And so he's trapped in this little alien, gets out, and now he's just trying to like get back on his horse or whatever. He's just trying to like learn all this stuff. We kind of, or to me, again, as a regular person who knows nothing, it looked like he got most of his training from the Tusken Raiders, if I'm correct, or he was originally trained from. Again, I have
Yeah.
no
No,
idea.
exactly.
But
Because
just
That's-
as a regular person, I am just watching it for the show. I don't really have a negative or a positive opinion about it. It's just a show that we're watching. But I can appreciate and respect them doing something like this for the Star Wars fans because of the 7 or 8 things we get from Marvel every year with all of the series and the movies and stuff. I mean, they pull like accountants from the first Avengers movie that are now in Spider-Man and stuff. And it's like the diehard fans who have, watched everything and read everything are going to be like, oh my God, like, what, and
They
they
love that
do
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
And they
The
love
little
it. I
Easter
love it.
eggs. Yeah.
and that
I
was
love-
this for us. Yeah.
Mhm, and that's that for Star Wars. So I respect it, and I know that it's not my place, but I'll happily watch the rest of it and just act like I know what's going on. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good. That's perfect. That's all you gotta do. Just pretend.
Yeah. So
Fake it till I make it.
I'm very much with Rebecca on this one. Like I am a casual Star Wars fan. I loved Mandalorian. I have seen the movies, but I have not liked like any of the cartoons, did not like Bad Batch, that sort of stuff. Have never done that deep, sort of comic book type dive, right? So I am the casual watcher. I am understanding everything that's going on. I thought this episode was a lot better than the first episode. This episode actually, like, I don't know, it made me more, I wouldn't say I'm hooked on it, but it definitely piqued my interest more in getting, it was weird that we had like the entire episode as a flashback. I'm not sure how I feel about that. However, I did actually enjoy the whole saga with the Tusken Raiders and how he sort of trains them in some ways and they train him in other ways. And I thought that was kind of cool. It's sort of watching people from different walks of life, from different cultures, like learning from each other and working together, and him sort of going from being basically their slave to now being like on the level with almost their leader, right? So their tribal leader. So I thought that was really cool. I liked it. I'm not catching those Easter eggs that Gina's catching or that the hardcore fans are catching, but I actually don't think you need to. I didn't know who those people were or why that scene was important. But I feel like that's okay. I don't need to catch every Easter egg, just like people watching Marvel don't need to catch every Easter egg in order to enjoy it. So I enjoyed the episode. I liked seeing Jabba's cousins, and Dan has a great comment. Jabba was such a great character. So we got 2 of them. Then we know Chewie is an all-time favorite and we got an evil Wookiee. Fantastic. I liked those because that's something as a casual fan, like I know who Jabba the Hutt is, right? I know who Chewbacca is, right? So seeing evil Wookiee, seeing Jabba's cousins, like that part was good. I liked that. I wanted more though from present day. I will say that I wanted more about what's going on in Tatooine and the sort of this jockeying for power for who's going to sort of rule Tatooine now that Boba Fett is in Jabba's old position of basically being the enforcer of Tatooine. So I like it. I'm going to keep watching, not just because of the platoon. Honestly, I enjoyed this episode much more than episode 1. So it's piqued my interest. It doesn't have its hooks into me yet. I'm not at the point where I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next episode to come out. Derek, what do you think?
To me, it's getting clearer. I still don't dig all the flashbacks. I would have rather they told it, okay, you're going to start when he gets out of the Sarlacc pit. Awesome. Then tell it in chronological order. That would have been my preference. I've got a couple predictions. One, I think the main Tusken Raider character is going to be a very important part of the show in present day.
Okay.
I think that's going to happen. That. I'm also going to make a major prediction for a major character to appear. Han Solo is going to show up.
Okay.
I'm convinced Han Solo will show up by the finale.
Which Han Solo?
Harrison Ford.
Okay. I didn't know if like
and they'll do it through the de-aging stuff, like
because this makes sense because it takes place after Return of the Jedi. So Han's this huge guy now in
So
in the universe.
I think he's going to show up at some point. That being said, I want to see more. Sam, I'm like you. I'm not hooked yet, but I'll keep watching it. I'm not avoiding watching it until the last minute, like some of the stuff we've been watching lately. So,
there's some good comments we got.
Yeah, I was just looking. Steve says it's growing on him. More intrigued than last week.
I want to talk about the flashbacks real quick. So the person who directed this film, this section, she was a huge person who studied The Godfather Part 2, and she was going. That's why they're doing it that way. It's very Godfather Part 2. It's very
Also
Godfather Part 2, also the worst of the Godfather films. Well, actually, no, the third is the worst.
But also makes sense that with the Godfather type stuff, having to get permission to kill the Hutts.
Yes.
Because you can't, one family just can't put out a hit on another family, because if he would go just kill them randomly, it's a death sentence for him.
Right. It's like killing a made man. So
I've noticed with the directors of these, Mandalorian and Book of Jabba the Hutt, or Book of Boba Fett. Oh my goodness! With both of these, I've noticed that the directors have a lot to say about where they're taking the direction. I did notice that in both these series. So if you like Godfather Part 2, then you're gonna like this director, because that's who she copied them, and she copied Lawrence of Arabia also.
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
Nick says opinion of the Raiders for the decades has been flipped. disciplined, carried, and a skilled culture. That is, we're seeing the other side of it. And to me, that's almost a political statement where, this basically this culture that was different, they're different looking. We don't see their faces, and all of a sudden we see
they
that
don't use technology. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
everything in this show is different looking.
Yes. Because they're
Everything.
aliens.
Well,
Alien races.
In Star Wars. And that's my least favorite part about it is I don't like the way that the huts are just blobs. It like reminds me of boogers.
They're slugs.
It's gross. It's
They're
just
slugs.
gross.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
No, they are gross.
I couldn't watch it because I
They are
could
gross.
hear them moving and not for
And
me.
then
Not
and then
for me.
apparently the evil Wookiee, his name is Black Karsten, and he is from one of the Marvel Star Wars comics.
and has had interactions with just about every major character, including Boba Fett. So the idea was that he and Boba Fett actually know each other, or know of each other, because that's how he knew he was a gladiator. So
he's gonna have, I think he's gonna have a major role. Also,
he's had interactions with Han. He's had interactions with Luke in the comics. So he is not just a token Wookiee being thrown in.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that continues next week.
Yay.
Also this week, we finally have gotten around to watching Encanto. It came out on Disney Plus on Christmas Eve, but with everything we had going on, we're just now getting around to watch it. And so, Sam, I'm going to start with you on this one. Were you enchanted by Encanto?
This is a really hard question because the answer is a little bit yes and a little bit no. So I liked the music, I liked the animation, I liked most of the characters except for Abuela. I did not like her because she's actually, spoiler alert, the evil character or the villain ends up being Abuela. She's not bad, but she's sort of misguided. So yeah, I didn't love the way the plot resolves. I didn't think it was a very it didn't completely make sense. It wasn't that it was confusing, it just didn't really tie up very well, in my opinion. It wasn't clear as to how Mirabelle made the magic come back. I guess making everybody be themselves and not having to be perfect is sort of the theme of the movie, but it didn't really come together and make sense in how the magic returns. So like I said, I liked most of the characters, I liked the music, but I didn't love the plot or the way the plot resolves, I guess. Yeah, so that's why I have to say, yeah, I mean, there's parts of it that were enchanting and there's parts of it that weren't enchanting because of this dichotomy there. But the music was fantastic. My favorite song was the one that Luisa, the strong sister, sings about pressure. I mean, it was fire, in my opinion. Like that was such a good song. And I felt like it was very relatable, like to anyone who ever feels like under stress or under pressure, or that the weight of their shoulders is on their back, or the weight of the world is on their shoulders. Right. So I thought that was, I thought that was really powerful. Derek?
And before I get into my take, I will say that's the one song I actually had an issue with because I didn't like that they made the super strong sister have the stereotypically deep voice.
Oh,
that I did not like. And I liked the message of the song. I didn't like that range choice or actress or whatever, because to me that's one of those, why does the big strong sister have to be a baritone?
Yeah, well, I mean, she was definitely an alto, but she was a true alto. Yeah, a low alto. Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying on that.
I totally get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
And she started the song lower than she finished it.
Yes.
So,
well, one thing I liked, though, that Kate pointed out, and this is probably because I'm an alto and Kate's an alto, you know, is that there were a ton of alto solos in ton of alto songs in this movie. And as an alto, you like love that because most of the Disney movies are all soprano stuff for all of the leads. So that was Yeah, so I love that.
I will say that is a lot of Lin-Manuel Miranda. He has a lot of alto songs.
Yes.
So
I think his style just works better with
Um,
lower voices. Yeah.
as far as the rest of the movie, it was cute. Nothing special to me. I loved that it got closer to the traditional animated runtime of the Disney movies. Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White were all an hour 15. Snow White's an hour 20. Toy Story movies are in the 90 to 100-minute range, which is about what this was. The shorter time works for the shorter attention span of kids. And it also forces a tighter story that otherwise might be way too long. Marvel.
Whatever.
The music, I really enjoyed the music. Disney Creative screwed up here because every time when they were talking about Bruno, all I could think of was Silencio Bruno from Luca. And having the name used in 2 movies that came out within 6 months of each other, someone screwed up. So there should have been a collaboration conference there.
Yeah, but I'm going to be singing "We Don't Talk About Bruno, No" for years, I think.
Yeah.
That was a catchy tune too.
My favorite song was the one where they talked about the family and then how she kept avoiding the topic.
The family madrigal at the beginning.
Yeah, the family madrigal. So it was okay. It was, as I said, nothing special to me. Rebecca, how about you?
I'll be the positive one. I thought this movie was awesome. I love getting to see rich, true Colombian culture. We haven't had a Colombian style movie from Disney or Pixar yet, and so it was really, really awesome to see that representation being there. To talk about the low voice thing, as Sam has mentioned, as we've said, Kate has mentioned before, the reason that most of them were alto is because Colombian women have a lower set range. The voice actor is a true Colombian actress for Luisa. And so I thought that it really actually stayed true to representation, and it was really cool to see that. I think it was beautiful. I loved that. And I will talk about their gifts later, but I thought that they were all unique. I know Pete mentioned earlier that he's not here, but we have a little group chat that we like to talk. And so he's told us this, that he didn't know how the gifts were really important to the people of this town or whatever of Encanto that they live in. But I liked that they were all different. It wasn't, oh, I can fly and I can reappear and I can do these things. Like, they were very special, unique gifts that each person was gifted.
Only the strength one, I feel like, is the one where you sort of like super strength, right? That you like see in other kind of other series. But other than that one, I feel like I agree with you, Rebecca. Like, they were all like kind of new or ones we haven't seen in the Disney universe, really.
Right. I thought it was really funny. I really loved Antonio's character. That little baby was so cute. And so it expected him to not get a gift because this is what's happening to the magic and the candles burning. Maribel was the first one, but Antonio, he's not going to get one either. Like, it's going to be this line. But then for him to get his gift, it was really awesome to see that. And even in Maribel's character, I think that she played, it's hard to try to live up to family, let's say, I don't know what the right word is, just to
expectations.
Yeah, exactly. To live up to these expectations of your family, especially when you have an older sister who is practically perfect. You have another older sister who is the strongest in the world. And, you have these expectations, and no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, you can't live up to them. But staying true to yourself through all of that, I think, is really hard. Or finding yourself or finding your way through all of that, I think is a really tough journey, but it's a beautiful one. So I think the theming of everything, just staying true to that representation of Colombia was awesome to see. So I really liked this movie. I thought it was great.
I will say, to me, of Moana, Frozen, Brave, and this was the most predictable to me.
But does that? But I don't think that makes it bad.
Yeah, that doesn't make it bad or
Take
good.
away
Yeah.
But
from-
you knew that the grandmother was the one she was going to have to make peace with
Yes.
early on.
Yes,
It was
agreed.
never the sister.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I thought that. Well, and I thought it was weird when the vision, like the vision was about like hugging the sister, because I was like, what is this, Frozen? Like, this is like, no, this is not Frozen. This is about Abuela and
So it's
Mirabelle.
brave.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, a little bit different, but yeah, but
Yeah.
Mirabelle and Abuela, really, it was Abuela who had all these expectations on everyone, and Abuela who was really the rudest to Mirabelle, which was, you know, really hard when she's having to go through Antonio's ceremony when she knows what happened in her ceremony. And then even when he does get his power, I know she wants him to get his power and she's so happy for him, but she's so sad for herself because she's like essentially the black sheep of the family, right? She's the only one without this gift. So yeah, that part was well done. It was just sad, right? It was just really sad. Yeah, to me, like I said, to me, it's a mixed bag. All the reasons that you loved about it, Rebecca, I think are also wonderful. So it's not, there's some great moments in this movie. I didn't think it was bad. I just think it was, for me, it was just a mixed bag, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. Dan says the movie's been on repeat at their house for weeks. I'm having been there with other movies. Dan, you have my pity.
Yeah. I will say, to Dan's point, I was watching this movie in our living room by myself, and my 8-year-old came and was sitting on the landing. I didn't realize it at the time, but he like came out and started watching while I was watching. So he didn't watch the whole thing because he was playing video games with his friends, but he online, he COVID safe household. But he did come out. He was interested enough to come and watch. So
yeah. Nick says first rule of Encanto Club is you don't talk about Bruno. Yeah. Dan says
no too.
yeah, no. Yeah. Maribel didn't get her gift because she rubbed her hands on her dress after touching the candle. I'm not sure I buy that. I think she did get a gift. So. It just wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
I think she ended up getting the magic because they were at the river where the candle gave them their magic at the beginning. Dan, I'm completely disagreeing with you. She got her gift. It just wasn't obvious to anyone. Her gift was bringing the family together.
Community.
And so
exactly, her gift was helping everyone find themselves, basically, and be okay with who they are rather than being worried about being perfect.
Yeah,
she always was.
Yeah. Steve says he enjoyed it. Wish the overall story was a little stronger. Wanted more story. I'd agree that.
I'm with Steve.
Nick says, at any rate, between Coco and Encanto, I'm loving the Latino love from Disney. I will say I enjoyed this more than Coco. I did. I enjoyed this more than Coco. And the reason, guys, we dropped Gina was because she hasn't watched it yet. Because apparently she was watching Cobra Kai, which, oops, not Disney Plus. But
that's a good show. That's a good show, Gina.
Yeah. We are going to bring her
Gina,
back.
you're on mute.
You're still on mute. Bring her back in for our next question, which was, if you could be given a gift by the magical blessing miracle, what gift would you want it to be? Rebecca, we're starting with you.
So I thought really, really long and hard about this one. I don't want it something as material as some of the characters of the Magical family had, and I didn't want it to be something so obvious either. My gift, if I could choose anything, would always be to have the right answer to a question. And this is an any type of question. So a logic-based, an empath-based, or just a reason, anything. If someone asked, like, why did this happen to me? I would know. Or like I would be able to give them the answer that they're going to need to hear in that moment. And so
you could cure COVID and cancer and everything, right?
To me, it literally had everything. I was like, that at first I had said, I want to just always have what I need in that moment. Like if I'm thinking, oh, I need a pen, and I just have it, And I was like, so that I'm never like stressed out or looking or anxious or anything. But then I was like, that doesn't help anybody except for myself, And so then I said, well, what if I was able to just answer any question for everybody? like I was always giving good advice and I could just help people that way and, you know, talk to people and get them through whatever it was. So that was what I chose. Sam?
I like that one. So I really liked the mom's power, the healing power, and I had an entire conversation for about 20 minutes in the car today with my son about how I would open up like a cookie factory and I would make cookies the cookies would have healing powers, right? But then he came up with a really great power that's not one of the magical family powers that I was like, "Ooh, that might be even better in some ways," which was the power to control time. I thought that was so cool. You could stop time for the world and, you know, and like stop something. You could speed up time for something that was like really bad, right? You know, it was, I don't know, it was a really cool power. I hadn't thought of it, but it was something he thought of. So either the healing powers like the mom has, so I could give cookies to make COVID go away and all that kind of stuff. Or maybe the power to control time. Derek?
I will say Adam Sandler did that, and it did not end up well.
Follow-up question. If you speed up and or slow down time, do you age that time too? Or do you stay where you were, but this was past?
That's a good question. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. I think you're
like,
still
let's
old.
be through COVID, right?
Yeah,
but I don't want to lose the next 3 years of my 20s.
Fair
you
enough.
know?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't speed all the way through. I would speed through work days, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But then get home and still be able to spend time with your family.
Yeah. That's great.
Because I will say that was actually one I had potentially thought of for
Ooh.
me. But then to me, and this is going to sound maybe a little sound strange to you, I would love to be able to have music playing that fits, like just have my own personal soundtrack.
I love that. So it has to fit the theme of the day or the moment, right?
Right. And because so often I have music going through my head, and it would be so much better if I could actually hear the music. And that's not saying I would burst out into song.
Right.
Because unless I'm down there singing the super low bass lines, you really don't want to hear me sing. But to me, that would be a great gift to be able to use of constant music. Yeah. So
I give my life its own soundtrack, you know, while I sing to myself.
I force my kids to listen to background music. I'm like, for 2.5 months, I listened to piano Christmas music because I was like, it's the mood. Halloween is over. We're listening to it, and you're gonna like it.
I love it.
Yeah,
Gina.
So mine is the ability to like download and speak every language. So it goes along with what Rebecca was saying with being able to answer their questions, but being able to understand them from their cultural perspective too. So not only downloading their language, but downloading their culture. So I could relate to every human on their level. That's always been since Matrix came out. I'm like, that's what I want.
I love that.
Love it.
Create that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nice. Nick says unlimited DVC points. He means make everyone sound great during karaoke.
That too. Both.
To me,
I like both.
Along with my music, have everyone who sings sound as good as they think they sound.
Yes. Yes.
That would, because there's some songs that everyone thinks they sound pretty good at, and you don't.
That'd be me.
Yeah. And he knows this, so I'm not bad mouthing him at all. My son cannot carry a tune in a dump truck.
Yeah.
But he can play the tuba very well.
Yeah,
so
cool.
he's instrumentally gifted.
Yeah.
Steve says the power to make people feel calm and their distresses and less stress.
Yeah.
I will say that is exactly what Kate said. Kate said,
I was going to say the same
calm
thing.
emotions, make sad people happy, angry people calm, or the physical healing. Yeah. So, and Dan says,
and Nick says, Steve, that you're Mantis, which Mantis from
Guardians.
Mantis this is from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Mantis is the character that makes the father who's a planet, makes him calm and puts him to sleep, and so she controls people's emotions, or she's an empath, so she senses people's emotions, but she can also calm them down and put them to sleep. Yeah, love it.
Anyway, Dan says the ability to fully understand what a person is trying to communicate would solve a lot of world problems. I'd agree, Dan. Yeah, and some of the how many of our problems are it's miscommunication.
Communication, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. As we always do, we are going to give this a pixie dust rating out of 5. And Gina, I'm going to start with you. How many pixie
Gina
dust?
didn't watch.
I didn't see this.
Oh, that's right.
But I'll give Cobra Kai gets a 5. So sorry.
Okay,
Derek, why
Rebecca.
don't you start us off?
Yeah, why don't you
us
start,
off?
Derek?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 3. And I'm tempted to almost bump it up to a 3.5, but I'm not quite there yet because I actually watched it twice. I actually watched it again because I will say yesterday my brain was not in it when I watched it the first time. So I watched it like right before our show. So to me, one of my big things is rewatchability. And in our group chat, Pete said an interesting thing where it's one of the movies that will grow on you over time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can definitely see that. So even the more I think about it, guys, I'm going to go 3.5.
Wow.
Which for me is
high.
That's really
is
high.
Yeah. So
That's
I mean,
great.
What did Kate and Pete give it? I'm trying to remember.
Kate gave it a 3. Pete gave it a 4.
Okay.
So Kate
So
was
for our
confused by
listening
the
audience,
end,
now you
so,
know what's
yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Okay, Rebecca, how about you?
I think you can't escape this music and this soundtrack. So even if the storyline and the plot and the movie itself is not within a rewatchability and is not important, the music will continue to grow and get it just become more popular. I think I have to give it a 4 because 3.5 is too low and you won't let me do 0.75.
You're right.
I'm not going to be the downer on that. I'll give it a 4. I did think it was great. I thought it was funny. I was engaged the whole time. So 4 for me. Sam?
It gets a 3 from me because I loved the music. I will rewatch this because of the music, even though it's not, even though I think the plot of other movies is better, the music of this movie is better than a lot of other movies that have better plots. So it's, I have to give it on balance. And the animation was beautiful to look at, right? Mm-hmm. From a purely visual standpoint, it was a very beautiful movie. So, and I like the themes, despite the plot not being perfect. I think, I think it had some good themes. And so, yeah, I would watch it again. I can't give it a 3.5 or a 4. I got to give it a 3.
That's fair. I will say visually it reminded me of Tangled.
Yes, that's a really good point. A lot of the flowers, Isabella, with the flowers and stuff. Yeah, a lot of the similar feel as the flowers in Tangled.
Definitely. Steve gives it a 3.5. Dan says he'd give it a 4, solid 4.
Nice.
Rebecca?
I say if we're gonna go off visuals, to me the only one that is as visually appealing is Inside Out. Because of all of the colors and the animations. Now I know that there was brighter colors in this one, but because the colors were so important in Inside Out, or Soul. I would say or Soul. Soul was really close too, with just how fluid everything was. So yeah.
I will say, and I will point out both of those Pixar, this was not. This was Disney animation.
True, different.
I didn't realize this was Disney animation and not Pixar.
This is a Disney animation show, not a Pixar.
Interesting.
So, which is, Tangled is Disney animation.
Yep.
And Frozen is Disney animation. Whereas Inside Out and all those, I think. Okay, ladies, I'm having a brain fade. What was Moana?
Disney.
Moana was Disney animation.
Yeah, it's not Pixar.
And to me, you can kind of see a similar animation style, especially between this and Tangled with the faces. To me, okay, Nick's going. Do you imagine a sequel or a one and done? I think it's a one and done.
I think it's a one and done.
One and done with like a mini series. I think
they could
just more
go with Bruno.
mini
Go with Bruno as a series.
Something
Mhm.
like
on
that.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
No other
Yeah.
movie, but there's going to be shorts or something
Okay.
like that. Like
Yeah.
a
I can
lot
see
with
that.
the-
I have to give a plug for Vivo that's on Netflix. That is, I know we talked Disney Plus, but this is a Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's also Latino. It's just a wonderful movie, animated film on Netflix that Lin-Manuel Miranda did. So I have to give, if for anyone who liked Encanto, I feel like you're gonna love Vivo.
Nice.
Okay. Well, next week we've actually got 2 shows coming up. Next week we are at Book of Boba Fett 3.
Yay.
Okay. And we are watching The Eternals. The Eternals comes out tomorrow.
Yay. I'll watch that too.
And
I'm excited. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch that too.
Harry Styles.
I think
Um,
I think Pete has seen it. I think he might be the only
Yeah.
one
I think
who's seen
so.
it of the bunch, right? So
Probably. So that's coming up next week, which I'm excited for one of those. Although, to me, the Eternals could be intriguing. I've actually been kind of curious about the Eternals. So now, this Sunday, we're taking over Community Hall Live over on my DVC Points. And we're going to talk about the tie-ins to the movies at Disney hotels. So we're going to bring our Plus Platoon knowledge about the movies to what has Disney done with them at the hotels? What's good? What's not so good? And what might come next? So with that, guys, if you have suggestions for shows that we should watch, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I don't think we're on Snapchat, but yet, anyway, if someone would join us on Snapchat, we will be there. So,
Yet.
no, wrong way. Rebecca's trying to fist bump me, and
Like,
I
you're
don't even. I
leaving
didn't
me
it
hanging
took
here,
forever.
man.
So I was like, "What is she doing?"
Also,
Okay.
okay, sure.
yes,
we are.
also-
our podcasts are available on Apple,
Yes.
Spotify, Amazon Music, Google, basically anywhere that we have. Anywhere you can get a podcast, we are available. This show will probably be available tomorrow evening. Steve does bring up an interesting point. Is there a list of movies we've talked about? In approximately a month, we will launch plusplatoon.com. Okay? If you go there right now, it's got a it's got a placeholder. It is not what the website's going to look like. In approximately a month to month and a half, we will launch plusplatoon.com. You will have lists with our Pixie Dust ratings, because I've been
Nice.
keeping track of all of them. You will have what's coming up. You will have get to know a little bit more about us, and there'll be a way for you guys to talk to us a little bit easier. So
Now there is a way you could figure it out, but you'd have to go on to. So if you went onto YouTube to our Plus Platoon page, and you would see all of our videos, and all of the videos in there, the title description has what we watched, and so what we're reviewing on that particular show. So it's not like as easy as a spreadsheet list of everything we watched, but it does have there a list but you'd have to look at the different videos in order to see.
yeah, and I will say for right now, we have given 29 different shows or series Pixie Dust ratings. So
That's a lot, and we don't do it
is
for
a
every show where we don't
No.
watch the whole series.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, we'll see everyone Sunday. Invite your friends, and we will see
Please.
everyone next week. We'll be doing Boba Fett 3 and the Eternals. So back to Marvel. Yay.
Yes, Tutor
Yay.
Tuesday, Marvel. Woohoo!
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram at Plus Platoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.